And we're back. We got this week's edition of the Rick Antonio News Talk Report. I am Rick Antonio, and we've got Tyler CK here on us with his half of the stream. He's coming from quite a ways away at this point. We've got a lot to talk about today. We'll get through it relatively quick. Some things that some people are finding hilarious, some things that some people are finding actually pretty serious. But nonetheless, we've got him here for you. So how you doing?
There we go.
There we go.
All right. So showing everybody my business.
Showing everyone your business just a bit. Sorry about that. But yeah, so let's first start off with it's wintertime. It's cold out. And I'm trying to pull up the information you shared that I know a lot of warmer states aren't exactly used to things like snow and ice, but down in Fort Worth, Texas, there was quite the pileup.
Yeah, it was a 10-car pileup that left, or no, it was way over a 10-car pileup. It was like a 100-car pileup.
133 to be precise. I mean, I'm sure it was 10 cars at one point.
Right. And we know there was at least 6 people that did not make it.
They didn't make it through the crash, and that's how a lot of crashes in the wintertime go. I mean, I've seen videos lately of black ice up hills, ice down hills, and just not seeing what in the world is either on the roadway or what's ahead of them on the roadway, because some people are dealing with cars that are stopped on the roadway. Oh, I'm at a stop sign. Oh, I'm at a red light. Oh, there's some sort of electrical truck ahead of me. I know the video I'm talking about is years old at this point, but, still.
It's something that it made me a little worried when I saw that news report on that pileup, just because I have my aunt and my cousins live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Oh.
So after I found that out last night, I immediately sent them all a message like, hey, are you guys all good?
Yeah,
they all told me, yep, we're all good, everyone's safe. So like, awesome.
Got to check in on them.
And knowing I've driven that same stretch of road numerous times while I was down there, I'm just glad that I didn't have to deal with any black ice while I was down there.
Yeah, at least we get to deal with the black ice up here.
Right.
So yeah, at least I guess you could say we were a bit more prepared for it. Can you say that? I can't really say that.
I would say I'm more prepared for ice,
I guess.
A lot of people down in Texas were.
Down in Fort Worth or in Tampa Bay. We'll get to that in a moment too. I mean, Super Bowl this last weekend, that's definitely something to go into detail on, but Tommy Boy getting his 7th ring. But you were talking about Texas. Let's talk about something else that was going on in Texas. Particularly Alpine, Texas. I'm trying to make sure I'm dotting all my I's and crossing all my T's, dotting my T's, crossing my I's, that sort of thing. It looks like there is a new lawyer on the block. Yeah, anyone that's used to Better Call Saul or any of those lawyerish, I'm not too up to date on, a lot of law movies, but, I'm trying to see if I can pull the video up too, but it's not loading for me at the moment. If you haven't heard, Lawyer Cat. Just to read it right off the Associated Press out of Alpine, Texas, a West Texas judge has a word of caution to use, or to those attending court using Zoom. Always check to make sure your filters are off. Showed up as a beautiful, fluffy kitty, and I'm sure that was the exact persona he was going for in a serious courtroom setting.
Like, the fact that it was on accident is what makes it hilarious.
Oh, yeah, that's the best part.
Like, if it was on purpose, I just feel like that's just a smart-ass lawyer.
Yeah, he's trying to
just, have his 10 seconds of fame, but still have people come in because it got him more fame than he needed for it.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's an accident is just hilarious.
Accident makes it hilarious, and it goes to show just how up to speed people need to get on some of these things, because I know people going in through Zoom meetings for the last year. Oh, there we go. There's the image. Yeah, so there's just a screen capture of the Zoom call. You can see him right there with the white fluffy kitty with blue eyes. I'm sure that's the most intimidating thing you've ever seen in a prosecuting court, or this is a judicial district court in this case. But that's
great because the other two people just look so like serious, ready to do their job, and then there's this little cat in the corner.
I'd be scared. If I was a mouse, I would be terrified. Yeah, if I was, I'm trying to pull it up right now. I am not a cat, but that's not gonna. Oh, but if you look at it though, it looks like it was on a serious thing. It was a. Was it a civil case? I can't tell, but someone had to risk their own bottom dollar on sharing this video because. If you checked out the thing in there, it says recording of this hearing or live stream is prohibited. Violation may constitute contempt of court and result in a fine of up to $500 and a jail term of up to 180 days. So someone risked jail to bring us that.
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I'm not a cat. I'm not a cat either. So that's one way to kick off the year, especially after the way last year went.
So. I love how he's like, I don't know how to get rid of it.
I have my assistant working on it. We're getting this all done, but I know. I don't.
The way they were probably able to share that is.
Oh, they had to get
permission. Just had everyone sign off on it.
Yeah.
Like, as long as everyone involved signs off on it, and as long as they cut the clip to just that specific section of it, I think everything is fine.
Yeah, that was trying to see. That's lawyer Rod Ponton, and I was watching some of the late night talk shows. Rod Ponton. Yeah, okay, sure, you're not a cat. Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it, Mr. Kitty. The judge presiding over the case said on Twitter after that, though, that, quote, these fun moments are a byproduct of the legal profession's dedication to ensuring that the justice system continues to function in these rough times. Everyone involved handled it with dignity, and the filtered lawyer showed incredible grace. True professionalism all around. Definitely more professional than either of us right now. But,
we're not a cat.
We're getting a kick out of it. I'm sure they all got a kick out of it.
Right.
And apparently he's getting calls from around the world and has been booked several times for national television. That's great. I wonder how many calls his practice is going to start getting now that he's got, that's quite the publicity stunt if that was on purpose, He just reading through that Associated Press copy, though, he said to them, "I've always wanted to be famous for being a great lawyer. Now I'm famous for appearing in court as a cat." Well, I was thinking about getting a cat, but now I need to think of getting one to represent me. So, especially after using these. But apparently, that cat is not so innocent. The lawyer, and this is from the Insider, the lawyer who appeared on Zoom as an adorable kitten once got a search warrant for an ex-lover's smoke shop that led to a violent police raid.
Oh, man.
Insider says that attorney Rod Ponton went viral for the kitty court hearing. But in 2014, as county prosecutor, he oversaw a controversial raid on a smoke shop. The shop's owner told the Insider that the raid came after she broke off a personal relationship with Ponton. So there's some drama to this. Kitty got claws.
Jeez.
So, but yeah, we've got that. And then just to talk real quick on other animals in the news, man's best friend has paid, he's certainly getting paid. Grabbing this from Fox News, Tennessee man leaves $5 million to his dog in his will, saying she's a good girl. Late man's friend, carrying just, you got to set the will up, leave some money. I would imagine the dog isn't actually going to get the money, but just reading off of this, when Tennessee businessman Bill Doris died late last year, he left $5 million to his 8-year-old border collie Lulu.
She's a good girl.
She is a good girl.
She deserves that money.
Doris's friend Martha Burton, according to the article, had already been watching Lulu for him for several years by the time he passed. According to their report, Doris frequently traveled and wanted someone to care for her while he was away. It's a shame. I'm not even going to make assumptions as to what got the guy, I mean, he was also a bit older, but
Right.
in a TV station interview, he that's simply it. Lulu is a good girl. So,
Yep.
So, but it just goes to
I
show
feel
you
like
what
the fact that he had like the will all set up to do all this makes me kind of think that
he had this prepared.
he was prepared. So I don't think it was anything that was too caught off guard.
No, not on his
But-
part anyway.
Right.
Apparently, it's more common than people think, though. I'm just skimming through the article a bit more, and there was another woman who left $12 million to her dogs when she died in 2007. Hotelier and noted tax fraudster Leona Helmsley and businesswoman Muriel Siebert left $100,000 to her Chihuahua named Monster Girl. Actress Lauren Bacall left $10,000 for care of her dog as well, but there's notable. I could think of a lot of famous people with famous dogs that would probably do the same. Of course, a lot of the famous people, they most of the time outlive their pets.
Yeah.
But that's a completely different tangent.
Because they got that elixir of life.
Oh, of course, yeah. Report out of Australia, if you want to talk about it, just to keep the train going on what else we've got wacky in the news right now. According to trying to see what this stands for. Researchers in Australia, artificial intelligence, at least there that they've been testing on, has demonstrated how it is possible to train a system to manipulate human behavior and decision making. Are you a robot?
I'm not a robot.
You're not you say that as you glitch out on screens. Like, am I a robot? I'm not a robot. No.
I'm
You-
not.
So you can check off
Robot.
one of those boxes
No.
on your screen, on the captures on the screen that says, I am not a robot. Okay. The article, just going through it from RT.com, says that AI now pervades the vast majority of contemporary human society and governs many of the ways we communicate, trade, work, and live. Well, we got a bit of a taste of that last week. I wouldn't necessarily call it AI unless, you change what the A and the I stand for. That influenced, moves on the stock market, but a new study by researchers at the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organizations, there we go, there's an official source, designed and tested a method to find and exploit vulnerabilities in human decision-making using an AI system called recurrent neural network. In 3 experiments that pitted man against machine, the researchers showed how an AI can be trained to identify vulnerabilities in human habits and behaviors and to weaponize them to influence human decision-making.
So basically, they just gave all these AIs psychology degrees.
Basically, yeah. Basically. Yeah, to teach an AI how to train an AI, it's like, well, we're intelligent to an extent.
Well,
At least I like
once
to
we
think
become
so.
obsolete, that's it.
We go from not knowing how to use technology in The Cat Lawyer to technology knowing how to use us. Well, how that's... It can be scary, though. I mean, some of the things that I've seen social media-wise, of course, that's less of a technology thing and more of a 1984 aspect. Just the way people are listening in, Big Brother sort of thing. But, geez, that's certainly the advancement of technology these days. You can either look like a cat or you can fall into a trap. The AI's
aliens
goal...
outside the U.S. are always listening, so...
The AI's goal was to arrange the sequence of symbols displayed to the participant in a research study, which had participants press a button when they saw a specific symbol, a colored shape, but refrain from pressing the button when shown other symbols. So they try to get them to press the button, trick them into making mistakes, eventually increasing human errors by up to 25%. See, in these kind of tests, I wouldn't expect it to be a whole 25%. That's quite the influence.
Yeah.
Imagine if there were other things in your day-to-day life that were just off by about 25%. Like, there are some things I go through the day and I get by just at the skin of my teeth, just staying awake, getting things done. Who knows? But 25% is quite the margin of error. In another experiment, the human player would pretend to be an investor giving money to a trustee, the trustee being the AI. Wait a minute. Who would then return an amount of money to the participant. The human would then decide how much to invest in each successive round of the game based on revenue generated by each investment. In this particular experiment, the AI was given one of two tasks: either maximize the amount of money it made or maximize the amount of money both the human player and the machine ended up with. Oh, we're in it then. We were talking about Robinhood last week and people investing in this and that and GameStop and Dogecoin.
Now we're just
and
gonna have to take all of our money, give it to an AI, and say, "Hey,
well, hopefully
biggest amount for you and me."
Hopefully we haven't already done that. Someone's not already out there running it, and we've already fallen prey to it. So
No, we wouldn't have right now, because what we've done was put our money in ourselves.
yeah, that willingly, of course,
Right.
willingly.
Now, if we did something with the hedge fund, then yeah, the hedge fund
Oh,
would probably
God.
be.
There we go
messed up.
again. Speaking of, breaking away from the computers, breaking away from freedom, getting your freedom. Let's talk just a little bit about the thing going on with Britney Spears at the moment and see how much time we have. We got another couple minutes. Let's talk about what's going on with Britney Spears. According to NBC News, she had another court appearance yesterday, and the battle to remove her father's conservatorship over her estate. It's been an ongoing battle over the last couple of years, and part of why she hasn't been putting out a whole bunch of music, why there hasn't been a whole bunch of appearances, basically having control over how she spends her money, how she gets her money, and really, you want to talk about 1984, that's not it, but that's a level of control, I guess.
Like, at this point, she is way more than her own adult.
Oh yeah, way more. I mean, if you want to make the argument, I saw actually a resurfacing interview from is it Craig Ferguson about how he saw what she was going through when she was going through it. She was about 25 at the time, and he said that he understood the struggles she was going through and that it's something that takes time to get over and to grow into. But according to NBC, Britney Spears filed a petition with the court last year to remove her father and place a financial institution as the sole conservator over her estate. And again, she does have quite the estate, music and purchases, and I won't go into that, but her attorney argued that the singer was afraid of her father's, that her father would rather, I'm getting mixed up here, that she was afraid of her father and would rather a financial institution take over her estate. And you see all these stories of athletes and superstars going from big to broke. I can understand. And empathy is really the thing you got to focus on when looking at this, because that getting even talked about nowadays is a great thing, a great step forward for her. So,
Yep. And I do wish her the best of luck, and I hope everything rules in her favor for this, because, like I said, she is an adult. She shouldn't be forced to have her dad do all this stuff.
Right, and that's where this week's update came from. LA Superior Court Judge Brenda Penny denied her petition last year, but appointed Bessemer Trust as co-conservator along with her father, James Spears. But it looks like there was... I'm trying to see where this update came from, because as of yesterday, I believe they were allowed to take him off of it, which would put the financial institution in control. But again, don't quote me on that, because I'm looking up what's going on with this. She certainly should be her own person. If she wants to make more music, that's certainly a great thing too. And I know Taylor Swift was getting on that too. She got out of a contract deal of her own and is in the process of re-recording every song she's ever made. So the things you got to do sometimes for legalese and for paperwork and all that, but just for a bit of freedom. So something we were talking about, we said the Super Bowl. We'll jump into sports, right now. Super Bowl. You said it wasn't that good of a game.
I was extremely disappointed by the game.
I thought it was amazing.
Say, myself, I wanted Kansas City to win, but that's not why them losing is not why I think it was a bad game. I can deal with them losing.
Mm-hmm.
What I can't deal with is them making stupid mistakes, doing things that cause very clear penalties, when if they hadn't caused those penalties, they could have stopped runs.
Mm-hmm. And a lot
They
of the
could have
penalties,
had the ball
yeah.
more. They could have potentially gotten some more points themselves, and or kept Tampa Bay from getting as many points as they did.
Well, to look at the game, and I'm trying to pull up the stat line right now. Was it 31-9, something like
Yeah.
that, where
So
they
something
ended up coming out on top on that. And Brady had a hell of a game too. He was named MVP of the game. I think that was one of his first in a while, because there were other Patriots players that had been named for the last couple of MVPs of his. And
Like, as much
Super Bowl
as
wins
much
of his.
a
Excuse me.
non-fan of Tom Brady as I am, I understand that he and the people that were playing on Tampa Bay with him all played really hard. They played really smart.
And that was a stacked
Like,
team too. You look at it.
yeah,
He
like
had
they should be proud of themselves.
going down the roster. I mean, you
Kansas
got
City is like, that is the reason why I am upset and think it was a terrible game,
Well,
because
Kansas
Kansas
City's
City
stacked
is
too.
better than what they showed, but they didn't get to show it because they did stupid things.
And it just goes to show the importance of the big boys up front too. I mean, as a
Yeah.
former player myself, I mean, that's everyone gives all the credit to the quarterbacks and the receivers and the running backs, but Kansas City was playing without a good chunk of its starting offensive line, and I won't go too into detail in injuries and break down who's hurt with what, but it's a team effort, and when you don't have one of the most important parts of your team,
Yeah.
what can you say? I'm trying to pull up the roster. Tampa Bay Bucs roster. So, I mean, like I was saying, big name players. I mean, oh boy.
Well, you know, that their team was definitely stacked to go to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they've got even backups on there. They've got Blaine Gabbert and Drew Stanton, Drew Stanton. Wait, Lions player Drew Stanton? Wow. They've got former Lion Ndamukong Suh. And then Jason Pierre-Paul, former Giants defensive end. They've got, and that's just talking about stuff on their defense too. Offense, they've got, of course, Brady and Gronk. And then you got Antonio Brown, who had been out of the league for the last year or two because he couldn't get his act together. I thought he went to the Patriots a year or two ago trying to get it back together, but things work out. They were just a stacked team, and so was Kansas City. I mean, they had Travis Kelce, they had Patrick Mahomes, they had a lot of just key elements in place just to get through the AFC. But for Brady to go through what he did last year, taking out Aaron Rodgers, and I'm trying to think of the rest of the playoffs now. Anyway, we don't want to make it all about the Super Bowl. Super Bowl said and gone, and it's a good thing that the home team got it. Brady gets a 7th ring.
Sure.
In some opinions, of course. Just before we wrap up football on here, hometown team Matthew Stafford leaving the Detroit Lions. Really surprised we didn't talk about this last week. Being traded to the LA Rams. In return, we got Jared Goff, and we got some future high-round draft picks, which is great. But Stafford said in an interview with, from my understanding, WDIV Detroit, it'd be nice if Yahoo News didn't ask for personal information every single time you go to use it. He is leaving behind an education center. Donating $1 million to the city of Detroit to access for an education center. Trying to see the name on it. It's a whole bunch of being prepared thing, but it's part of their final thank you. He said in an Instagram quote, "There are not enough words to truly express how grateful we are to have lived here for the past 12 years. We came here for football, but we are leaving with the sense of home and endearment. Endearment not only for this city and the Lions organization, but a love for the people who make up this community. Detroit has supported our family not only by showing up on Sundays, but also through our most difficult times." And that difficult times in reference to Kelly Stafford, his wife, going through brain surgery a year or so ago to remove a tumor. But this new center, this new educational center, will be right on the same lines as the Say Play Center. So it's a well-known facility in Detroit. Excuse me, it's a well-known center in Detroit, and the fact that there's going to be an education center added onto it, get the two together, learn and play. You know, kids are just going to want to go and get things done.
I think it's a really nice gesture.
Yeah, and it looks like the new building will enable the center to increase its student population who benefit from the center's academic, athletic, and arts programs, as well as service adults. And this is important in my opinion, service adults with job training programs, GED classes, and community events. So it'll help both the youngins and the, those trying to get on their feet. So always talking about advancing careers and such, but again, you got to give praise to someone looking to donate to a community like that.
Right. And as much as don't want to see him go from the Lions,
he's been going on to bigger and better things.
Right. And wishing him the best of luck and hope he succeeds in all of his future endeavors.
One last NFL note before we finally switch off of it. J.J. Watt released from the Houston Texans at his request, one of the bigger name defensive players in the league. I'm hoping he goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers to join his brothers, TJ and Derek, because I saw that Derek didn't want to be DJ Watt. Major League Baseball. Let's talk about that before we talk about the Olympics to wrap things up. Major League Baseball, if things don't backfire on me. Security issues. This is from Sports Illustrated. Vern Conway, security vice president of public safety and security for the Maryland Stadium Authority. Oh my goodness, these pop-ups are killing me. He's responsible for both the Camden Yards and M&T Bank Stadium. He saw a video on YouTube reminding him, drones are going to be an issue. And this year of all years, where there were no fans allowed in many stadium stands, he understands why it could be an issue. 7 years later, it's clear he was right, according to the article. You might have noticed, if you paid attention to baseball last year, no people in the stands. FAA banned unmanned aircraft systems, or drones, from flying over stadiums while the game is in progress. So you can fly them, and you can fly them over stadiums, just not while someone's playing, I guess. See,
which kind of makes sense.
It makes sense. I'd hate to see, one of those get knocked out of the sky by a ball.
Oh, I'd love to see that. That'd be great.
It'd be funny.
Even if it wasn't going to be a home run hit to begin with, if it hits a drone, give him the home run.
Just give it to him at that point. If you can get the ball high enough to see the drone, or vice versa.
Unless the outfield team can catch both the ball and the drone.
Well, they just give him the game then. But
at that point, then it's like, well, hey, we caught two things and
2 outs.
Well, 2 outs, I guess.
Well, the problem I can see with it, because I understand where you're going with it. Give them the home run. If they hit the ball that high, it's got to be going that far out of the park. But what about the case where the drone is just really low and it gets in the way? That's almost like someone in the stands sticking their hand into play. And in that case, that would be a ground rule double? No, not ground rule double, but interference. So I wonder how they would rule that when there's no one to get to the...
If it becomes interference, would they just have the person re-hit, or would they just give them a base?
I'd have to check the rules on that one. I'm not up to speed.
I'm not super up on every
either way,
rule.
Though, baseball, it's still really good that they're thinking of new issues. One other thing about baseball, with no one being in the stands, another thing throughout the pandemic, a lot of these stadiums have been... they've got a surplus of Bobble Heads. 4 million extra Bobble Heads, according to ESPN, as 2020's giveaways people coming into the stadium. Oh, hey, here's a bobblehead. Oh, hey, here's a poster. Oh, hey, here, this, and this, whatever, just for coming to the game. That's a lot to take in. And next year, when there's doubles, it's like, oh, well, we've got bobblehead this day and this day. You're going to have more junk than you can think to do with. Looks like, just according to ESPN, there was no way the Pittsburgh Pirates would cancel Trevor Williams bobblehead day. So it looks like there were days scheduled to give these bobbleheads away. But again, no one there to take them.
I mean, I'm all for a free bobblehead, but I'm not a bobblehead person, so
I'm just looking at
maybe not.
These pictures of all these bobbleheads lined up. They had planned on giving away 10,000 of them. Like, they have boxes filled with 200 apiece, and they were planning on giving away 10,000 of these bobbleheads of Trevor Williams in a Stormtrooper outfit for, I would assume, his Star Wars Day as well. But you think about how many teams and how many promotions, when people do get to go back to the game, there's going to be plenty of stuff. Either that, or there's going to be a whole bunch of waste. You talk about these landfills and garbage and all that, but
yeah,
just things sports have to deal with outside with the pandemic. One thing, actually, now that I remember, just circle back to the Super Bowl. There was something that people were able to make bets on a lot of sports gambling sites. That was the Gatorade, the color of the Gatorade. And I couldn't tell you what last year's Gatorade color was because I didn't think people would want to bet on something like that.
Hey,
well, apparently,
if you can bet on something, people will bet on something.
People will bet on it. I saw on just to cross promote. I mean, I saw on The Bird and the Beard, one of my coworkers' podcasts, that they went on to one of the new sports betting sites that's allowed in Michigan now, and people are betting on things like the coin toss. Who's going to go to the coin toss? Is it going to be heads or tails? Who's going to call it? Who's going to call it right? Who's going to call it wrong? Just so in depth. It's like, okay, is this person going to call it? Is this person going to call the right? Are they going to flip it right? Are they going to call heads or tails? What's the deal? I mean, I understand going through.
Someone I know went through and looked at all of it because, he got free money to bet on stuff when.
And that's how they're wheeling people in too.
Yep.
That's how they're reeling people in.
He had to look up on the internet what was a way for him to just bet on who's going to win the game. Instead of all these different stats and numbers and all this other random things. Just like, I want to bet on who's going to win the game. That's all I want to do.
Yeah. And for your information, this year's Gatorade was blue. Which is weird because neither team is blue this year, so I don't know why that would be the color. Maybe they just like the blue Gatorade. Let's get to our final topic. Just while we're on the field of sports, but while we're moving on from that Super Bowl that seems to take up all of our time.
Getting ready for hopefully the next big sporting event of the year.
Would that be the next big one?
Well, I don't know, are there any other big ones?
I can't think of anything even scheduled to play, let alone... Because I know baseball is getting ready to start up. They're going to be doing their spring training soon. I know hockey...
I think at most, maybe their opening day type of thing.
Yeah.
Might be first.
But not like a championship level thing. Right. Hockey's still very fresh in their season. NBA basketball still got another couple of months. That's not going to be as big... I mean, as the Super Bowl. I mean, it's big. It certainly is. But
all right, how about the next biggest event sports wise
for the world?
Canceled from
everyone in the world is going to care about. Yeah, let's get to the Olympics. Olympics, according to NBC, they will be airing the opening ceremony of the Tokyo Olympics live. Last year, canceled. Not so much canceled. Maybe just rescheduled. According to looks like an NBC, CBS outlet. U.S. Olympic viewers have been waiting for this, and it's going to be Friday, July 23rd this year, 13 hours ahead of New York, 16 hours ahead of L.A., beginning at 8 p.m. in Japan, which is 7 a.m. Eastern, 4 a.m. Pacific. Talk about jet lag. Or the athletes. Athletes.
I would love to be able to be there for it, like in person.
Yeah, I heard a
But
lot
also
of
just
the...
because I want to go to Japan. So
that's the big seller. You know, that's the big seller, is it's in Japan. There were a lot of things planned for this thing. There were a whole lot of niche...
Tokyo went through and actually like built a whole bunch of stuff specifically for the Olympics.
Yeah. Just to make sure that there was infrastructure there for people to enjoy while they're there enjoying the Olympics. And
Yep.
I may be wrong in remembering this, but the last time Tokyo had the Olympics, and again, my math might be off, so I'm going to pull it up real quick. Last time it was postponed was World War II. Does that sound about right?
Maybe.
Yeah, 1940 Summer Olympics, officially known as the Games of the 12th Olympiad, were originally scheduled to be held from September 21st to October 6th in 1940 in Tokyo, Japan, but they were rescheduled to be held from July 20th to August 4th in Finland, Helsinki, Finland, due to the outbreak of World War II. So they were not only earlier in the year, but they were in Finland, which that's a bit different. That's a bit different in terms of rescheduling things, but
Yeah.
I'm guessing that the rescheduling is not going to be the only thing the Olympics are going to have to deal with, considering their president, the Tokyo Olympics president, not the president of Japan, Tokyo Olympics president, has resigned. Resigned after making several sexist remarks, apparently. And I'm still pulling up all the information because, you know, a lot of sites are asking this, that, and the other to even access their information. But Tokyo Olympics head Yoshiro Mori resigned after an uproar of sexist remarks. And some of those, in his quotes, were that women talk too much during meetings and that they are embarrassing. That's I mean, you don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole, but at the same time, how is that guy, how did he make it this far in to be able to run the Olympics, let alone how did they not catch it before?
I feel like it was more of just like different culture that didn't do a huge background check of his social media type of situation.
I mean, you get into issues with the girl from the Mandalorian getting kicked off the show by Lucas, is it Lucasfilm, LucasArts, whatever, because she made comparisons to politicians and World War II Holocaust survivors. I mean, that was relatively quick because it resurfaced again on Twitter the other day, and within days, she's off the show. I get that the show is in it's in hiatus right now. They're working on their next season. But this guy's been running the Olympics for a while now. At least over in Japan. I mean, he was set to have this whole thing kick off last summer, and we see that he was still in charge at that point. Report, again, from CBS in this case, that he resigned earlier, well, it would be today at this point, of the Tokyo Olympic Organizing Committee, saying that they talk too much. As of today, I will resign from the president's position, he said to the executive board and council. They have not picked his successor, but they're expected to pick today. It comes after remarks he made earlier this month, calling women annoying, that they talk too much, are driven by a strong sense of rivalry. It's like, you know, when you're a husband and wife, I get making joking statements like that about your significant other, but not a blanket statement like that. That is incredibly out. That's ridiculous.
That's way too much.
The damage was only compounded when he offered what was construed as a disingenuous apology and retraction the following day. International Olympic Committee called his comments inappropriate and cited his apology that the matter was closed. So, again, he's out, and we'll see where the Olympics go this summer. Again, Again, I'm Rick Antonio in for Rick Antonio's News Talk Report. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and we will talk to you next week.